Okay, great. So you've mentioned self-determination theory a couple of times. What can you define what it is, and what does this theory encompass and tell us about human behavior in like a very individual sense?
Yeah, so it's actually a complicated thing to explain because it's a large theory that includes five smaller mini theories. Uh, the basic idea is that there are three fundamental psychological needs that we require to be fulfilled in our everyday lives if we're going to thrive. So the three fundamental psychological needs are the need for uh, autonomy, which is the one that's most unique about this theory. And it's the one that's the most controversial because some people would say, well, some cultures don't value autonomy. How can autonomy be so important? So autonomy has to do with feeling like you matter and that your interests and your goals are important and that you're actually choosing them, that you're an actor rather than being a pawn who's being pushed and pulled by forces outside of you. So the contrast is between uh, feeling like you actually are the author of your life versus feeling like you're alienated and that you actually aren't in charge of what you're striving for and who you're who you're making friends with and what you're doing at work. So it focuses on feeling like you're pursuing things that you really care about or that you're interested in. And unfortunately, many of us feel alienated, bored, conflicted. So this experience of autonomy is often less common in our lives than you might think. So, you know, some of us, we have to take jobs that aren't like the jobs that we care about most, but we have to make do with it. And it's not really what we want to do, but it's like we feel like we have to do it. And the theory suggests that when we're doing things that we believe in and that matter to us, we'll bring a different kind of engagement, a different kind of emotions. And so autonomy is first. That's the first need. They're all pretty much equal in how important they are, but the theory is uniquely focuses on the importance of autonomy. The other two needs, many theories consider important. So the second need is relatedness. So there's autonomy and then relatedness. And that has to do with feeling like uh, you can connect with some people and that you care about some people and that there are some people that care about you. Everyone doesn't have to love you. You just need a sufficient number. I read an article in the Gazette yesterday about loneliness and how, unfortunately, since the pandemic, we've had an epidemic of loneliness. And, less than half the people out there believe that they have three good friends. And there are some people who don't feel like they have any good friends. So it's really important to feel like there are some people you care about, some people you trust, and that it's reciprocal. It goes both ways. Uh, so there's autonomy, relatedness, and then the last fundamental need is competence. And that has to do with having a sense that you can do some things well, having a sense that you're good at different activities or relating to others or learning things. Now, it's not so important that we be the best or even that we're outstanding. What's more important is to believe that you have the capacity to learn and improve in various areas. So I'm going to give you something to remember this by. It's autonomy, which is A, relatedness, which is R, and competence, which is C. And I gave a lot of talks during the pandemic about how to stay motivated. And the argument I made is that the arc of our experience during the pandemic will depend on whether we're able to structure our lives in a way that we can continue to feel autonomous, related, and competent, even though our lives were so restricted. And what I would use as an image, do you know, during the pandemic, a lot of kids were drawing rainbows, trying to
Yeah, in
give
Quebec, yeah.
like a vision of hope.
Yeah.
But that's an arc.
Hmm.
And the theory would suggest, there's a rainbow of these three basic needs. And if we can successfully find environments and find people who help us feel autonomous, related, and competent, then we're going to reach our full potential. We're going to be, as interested uh, and active and sociable, and we're going to show as much learning and growth as we possibly can. So that's like basically the idea is that there's these three fundamental needs, and it's really important we find environments that will nurture those needs. The idea is it's like biological needs. So like I've started growing plants on my balcony. I'm not doing too well because the building I live in, uh, the balconies are a little unsafe, so they've actually locked the doors and put some nails in, so I can't get out. So I have to like throw the water from through my window onto my plants. But in any case, plants, they have biological needs. They need water. They need sun. Um, they need like not too much wind. Otherwise, they're going to wither and they're going to look like my plants are starting to look, where, instead of being green, they're a little bit brownish. My tomatoes are only about this big. And DC and Ryan believe that if you have a 5-year-old kid who's in a kindergarten where the teacher is harsh, the other kids are competitive or mean, and he or she's getting negative feedback, that's going to cause that kid to kind of wither and
Hmm.
become defensive and shrink. And so uh, they really highlight how important it is to find people and environments and teachers and coworkers who can support our need to feel autonomous, related, and competence. And the arc of our experience at work or in relationships or the arc of our lives will depend on whether we can get these needs satisfied.